Hello, this is Art for Introvert, and today we're plunging into one of the most mysterious and complicated cinema universes, Twin Peaks. David Lynch is known for his unique ability to make the ordinary world seem bizarre. Among his works, Twin Peaks is probably the most pronounced example of that. He continues to develop and expand this world, returning to it for 30 years. The canonical universe of Twin Peaks consists of 3 seasons and a full-length movie, Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. There are also several books written in the framework of this universe, but Lynch himself has little to do with them. The first season of Twin Peaks hit American TV on April 8, 1990 and drew 8 million viewers to the screens. The series mocked the cliches of the 1980s and inspired such cult shows as Lost, Breaking Bad, and Game of Thrones. It was Twin Peaks that urged the directors to move from cinema to the TV format, and that's why after Lynch, other directors like Fincher, Spielberg, and Scorsese took on making TV series too. The Twin Peaks show that you can tell a long and complex story and that the director doesn't have to squish all the questions and answers into one episode. The series format allows the director to switch between the plot lines and introduce many new characters throughout the series. After the first season proved to be a success, the producers insisted that the second season should answer the main question, who killed Laura Palmer? Lynch was strongly against it, but had to give in eventually. And that's why, after the episode revealing the identity of the killer, he left the project. However, after the second season was over, Lynch decided to return to Laura Palmer and tell the viewers the story of her actual life. And that's how Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me came to life. There was just one problem though. While Lynch himself was fascinated with exploring Laura's life, the audience wasn't engaged at all. And the critics weren't satisfied either. 25 years later, Lynch made a triumphant return and presented the third season of Twin Peaks, directing all 18 episodes by himself. So what is happening in this universe, and why is it so immensely popular? We do get the answer to the main question in the second season, yet the series has many things to tell. The detective story side, there are all aspects of soap operas of the 1980s, love triangles, betrayals, and conspiracies, but there is more to the series than simple plots popular on television. Lynch filled it with the bits of his favorite style, grotesque, absurd surrealism and mysticism. In an ordinary American town, we meet the log lady, a one-armed shoe salesman, a giant at work, the red room, and much more. The first season is a perfect combination of a detective story and a panorama of American suburban life, with just a dash of the supernatural. The second season tilts more towards mysticism. As for the third season, we can call it the apotheosis of the surreal Twin Peaks. The problem is, the more supernatural forces made their way into the world of Twin Peaks, the less cozy the series became. The damn good coffee, cherry pie, and donuts stayed in the first season. The format changes as well, and the third season of Twin Peaks can rightfully be called an 18-hour film. The main thing that the Twin Peaks universe does is that it fully conveys the worldview of David Lynch. Lynch's philosophy is a balance of opposites. For him, the world is a combination of light and darkness, good and evil. One is impossible without the other, and the truth lies harmoniously in the middle, between the two extremes. His work is about the struggle between light and darkness, and there can be no winner. Twin Peaks was David Lynch's first attempt at making a series. Before that, he'd shot 4 feature films. He had quite a negative opinion of TV when he only started working there. In the eyes of David Lynch, television embodied violence and promoted the flourishing brutality, which appealed to viewers more and more. Murder stories took hold of TV. And that's what pushed Lynch to create a series dedicated to the murder of just one girl, to show how impactful a murder actually is. It radically affects everyone around, and especially the family of the victim. A human life carries great importance. This is the idea of Lynch's high humanism. The same idea causes the main ideological clash of the series. The director is interested not so much in answering the question who killed Laura Palmer, but in exploring who Laura Palmer was. Note that once viewers knew the killer, they lost interest in the show and its ratings dropped significantly. The very moment the main secret was revealed, Laura Palmer actually died for us, and this is what Lynch wanted the least. Paradoxically, it seems that Laura lives while the investigation is going on. After all, Laura Palmer is a television series character who wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for her murder. By presenting a seemingly simple detective story, Lynch creates a much bigger metaphor for the whole TV system. The series constantly hints that it exists in the artificial TV world. There are close shots of utility poles and TV ripples on the faces of the actors. David Lynch seeks to change television that focuses on violence. Twin Peaks is serious about how television works and how it channels the attention of the audience. And this is this attention that feeds Bob, the personification of evil in the series. Do you remember how the second season ended? Bob possessed Agent Cooper and television violence eventually won. And only Lynch's triumphant return to the Twin Peaks project and the third season, purely cinematic, was able to restore the balance of power. Laura Palmer personifies the balance of power. She's done both good and evil. She took drugs and worked with a disabled young man. She delivered food to the elderly and engaged in prostitution. Lynch wanted to bring the balance of life and death back to television, and he used his beloved cinematography techniques. For him, the struggle between cinematography and television is the struggle between light and darkness. And cinema lights up the dark screen, makes it alive, it embodies good, and TV for him symbolizes evil. The beginning of the movie shows his attitude. We are referring to the scene with the exploding TV. He started filming his Twin Peaks movie immediately after the long-awaited completion of the second season, so the explosion scene was him saying goodbye to the world of TV. It's also why the third season looks so different. Lynch shot all the episodes by himself and the way he wanted. The action takes place not only in Twin Peaks but in other series too, and there's practically no single storyline. Overall, the main metaphor of Twin Peaks is good fighting evil that unfolds on several levels. The life of Laura Palmer, the story of her murder, the opposition to TV series of the past, and finally the juxtaposition of TV and cinema. Lynch himself pointed out that all the main messages of the series are on the surface. All the answers are given openly on the screen. The ideological structure of Twin Peaks is logical and clear. Its world has its mythology, which likens it to the world of Alice in Wonderland. They both only seem absurd. There's a logic to these worlds that follow its rules. In Twin Peaks, much like in Alice in Wonderland, you have to look closely and follow the narrator's hints to understand what's happening. Lynch doesn't test our knowledge of anything, he tests our attentiveness, and that's why it depends on the viewer what he or she will see in the series. Just don't forget, the owls are not what they seem.